So this morning, while I was doing my videos, one of my cousins posted something on social media. I think I want to talk about it. And it kind of goes like this. Here is the statement. So let me get this straight. We're a nation that accepts pornography but hates abuse. A nation that doesn't believe in gender but fights for women's rights. We're a nation that believes no child should be left behind, but we have aborted over 60 million. We're a nation whose heroes have died so our flag could fly over a free nation, but then we give the title heroes to wealthy athletes who kneel in disrespect. We're a nation whose political parties ignored the corruption of their own party while condemning the corruption of the other. We're a nation of laws, yet we're a nation where that only applies if you're not politically powerful. We're a nation that has "In God We Trust" printed on our money. But we're a nation where the ACLU sues people who makes his name known in public. We're the greatest nation on the earth, yet we consume more antidepressants than any other nation in the world. We're a nation that pledges we're one, yet we're a nation of aggressive division, and we wonder why there is so much confusion. Confusion? Well, the first thing that came to me was, our Father in heaven is not the author of confusion, now is he? So my response was this. Christian nations today embrace the lie exactly as Paul foretold in 2 Thessalonians 2, verses 11 through 12. Who is the father of lies? His number is, as they say, 666. Actually, it's XES in English, and Chi, Chi, and stigma in Greek. His name is Jesus, or XESUS, depending on how you want to pronounce it, whether it's in Greek or Latin. The name of the true Messiah is Yehoshua. So that's what I posted in response. Now, so I mentioned 2 Thessalonians 2, verses 11 through 12. So let's go there, shall we? Let me go ahead and screen share. All right. So 2 Thessalonians 2, verses 11 through 12. And for this cause, Jehovah, not God. Folks, please understand that the translators took extreme liberties with the Bible, with the words of the prophets, with the words of Moses, and with the words of Yehoshua and the disciples. All right. Shall send them strong delusion. What is delusion? We've gone over that many times before. It is when you believe something that reality tells you is the opposite of the truth. Okay? For instance, I'll give you a fine example. Rabbits don't lay eggs. Yet, Christians teach their children that rabbits lay colored eggs. And there are many of these things. And this is where, when you start with one delusion, then the next one comes along, and then it multiplies and multiplies and multiplies and multiplies until people think that a man can be a woman. Transgenderism. And then you have this transracialism, where a white woman pretends to be a black woman. And this multiplies and multiplies and multiplies. And guess what we have? We have confusion. Our Father in heaven is not the author of confusion. So it says, because of this, because they did not receive the love of the truth that they might be saved, as written in verse 10, for that reason, Jehovah will send them strong delusions. Let them go ahead with your delusions, that they might believe the lie, that they all might be damned who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. Who is the father of lies? Well, let us look at okay. Revelation 13:17, and no one could buy or sell anything without that mark. Or the name, let's see. So, verse 16, and he calls all, both small and great, rich or poor, free and bond, to receive a mark on their right hand or in their foreheads. Now, this mark, as I pointed out, the Chai mark, the X, this right here. Let's see, this. Okay. Now, don't forget, folks, this is a cross. That's what it is. And in the Eastern nations, Eastern to Middle Eastern nations, these can be turned sideways. Letters can be turned sideways, and it is still, it's not like it is in Western nations, okay? So this is essentially a cross, and they put that on their foreheads on Ash Wednesday. Okay. Mark in their hand. Now, in their hand, when they pray, they do this thing with their right hand. They make the sign of that mark. Here's wisdom. Let he that has understanding count the number of the beast. Now, we've gone over this before. Let's go to Strong's Concordance. All right. Now, for a long time, I didn't understand this, because when I looked it up, I was thinking Chi, Chi, and Sigma. For a long time, it made no sense to me. What I didn't realize is I got one of them wrong. It was stigma, not sigma. Very easy to confuse this. Okay, his number is Chi, Chi, and stigma, not sigma. Okay, so let us look. Let us look at this. Chi in Greek. Let's start with number 1. We were just there. That's the first one. Chi, uppercase or lowercase. It is the 22nd letter of the Greek alphabet, used to represent the ch sound, as in the Scottish loch or lock, or German Bach. Oh, I got you. Is a K sound. I don't know what. Okay, it's a K sound. In ancient and modern Greece, in the system of Greek numerals, it has a value of 600. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Chi. Uppercase is this right here, as you see there. Lowercase is this, or this and this. This is the uppercase right here. This is the lowercase. It is pronounced, well, it says KSI in modern Greek, and generally xi or psi in English. It is in the system of Greek numerals, it has a value of 60. Psi was derived from a Phoenician letter, Samekh. Okay, so let's look at the third one, stigma instead of sigma. Now, stigma, let's see if I can get a better image here. There it is, okay? It looks kind of like an S, right? And you can look here and you see this. And yes, they have it right. So let's go back for a second. Is a ligature of the Greek letters sigma. This is why I misunderstood this for a long time. You know, as it's written, you have to prove all things. Well, it took me a while, but I'm not going to sit here and take somebody else's word for it. Okay, it's a ligature between sigma and tau, which is used in writing Greek between the Middle Ages and the 19th century. It is also used as a numeral symbol for the number 6. Okay, this is where they get 666 from. However, as one man pointed out, it should remain as written in Greek. And the reason is you got to understand, it's very important that the number of his name is the number of his name. What does that mean? Okay, let's look at it for a minute. Or the number of his name as written in verse 16. Okay, number, arithmos. I will get to the deeper meaning of arithmos in just a minute. Of. Well, it's not of. There's no of there. It's just his name. So it's a number within his name. Okay, number. Arithmos. Now, one person claimed that number is not correct, but the root word of number is correct. I say they're both correct. Okay, let me get there. So, not a total number per se, but and not, you know, could be either a fixed number or a definite number, or a indefinite number, as we see in B right here. But where does this word come from? From arrow, a number as reckoned up. Let's look at arrow. Arrow is to raise up, to take up, to lift up. So this particular group of numbers or letters or numerals were raised up to bear, to carry, hoisted up. Hoisted up? What do you mean, hoisted up on what? Could it be hoisted up on a cross? Lifted? Raised? So what we have here is apparently you can surmise that there is a, how do I put this? Counterfeit going on here. So something else was raised up in the place of the Jewish Messiah. Hoisted up. And you know what they hoist up people on back in those days. So you see the more sinister thing here that's happened. So we have a replacement Messiah who was hoisted up. You have a counterfeit. Now, let me go back to the words of John. Let's see here. I need to back up a little bit. All right. Revelation 15. And verse 2. And I was starting in verse 1, and I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having 7 last plagues, for in them is filled with the wrath of Jehovah. So the wrath of Jehovah begins with the 7 last plagues. And I saw, as it were, a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that have gotten victory over the beast and over his image. It's the image of Zeus, or Jesus, or Jesus. And over his mark, we know what his mark is now, and over the number of his name, standing on a sea of glass, having the harps of Jehovah. And they sing the song of Moses. No Christian today is going to sing the song of Moses. You see? Think about it. Do you know any Christian today that would sing the song of Moses? The servant of Jehovah, and the song of the Lamb, saying, great and marvelous are your works, Jehovah Almighty. Just and true are your ways, you King of saints. The saints are the Jews. Now, who shall not fear you, O Jehovah, and glorify your name? For you only one, Jehovah, are holy. For all the nations shall come and worship before you, for your judgments are made manifest. Let's look up the Song of Moses. Let's see who's going to sing the Song of Moses here. All right. Now it's interesting that the Song of Moses is recited right after Moses told the people of Israel about how they were going to be saved out of all the nations where they were scattered into. The very next chapter, folks. Can you believe it? Okay. 31 verse 30. And see, this is when Yehoshua, not Joshua, his name was Yehoshua, just like the coming Messiah. His name is Yehoshua. When Yehoshua was appointed to succeed Moses. Okay? So let's look. All right. Where is this at? Now, therefore, verse 19, write you this song for you, and teach it the children of Israel. So who's going to be singing the Song of Moses? Huh? Huh? Does anybody guess? Anybody have a guess? The children of Israel. Put it in your mouths that this song may be a witness for me against the children of Israel, when I have brought them into the land which I swore to their fathers that flows with milk and honey, that they shall have eaten and filled themselves and waxen fat. Then will they turn unto other gods, and they did. And serve them, and they did. And provoke me, and they did. And break my covenant, and they did. And it shall come to pass, when many evils and troubles are befallen them, that's right, it has, including the Holocaust, that this song shall testify against them as a witness. For it shall never be forgotten out of the mouths of their seed. So the Israelites, the Jews, will never, ever forget this song, the Song of Moses. For I know their imagination which they go about, even now, before I am brought them into the land which I swore. Moses therefore wrote this song the same day and taught it to the children of Israel. And he gave Yehoshua, not Joshua, the son of Nun, a charge and said, be strong and of good courage, for you shall bring the children of Israel into the land which I swore unto them, and I will be with you. And it came to pass that when Moses made an end of writing the words of this law in a book, until they were finished, that Moses commanded the Levites which bore the ark of the covenant of Jehovah, saying, take this book of the law and put it inside the ark of the covenant of Jehovah your Elohim, that it may be there for a witness against you. I know your rebellion and your stiff neck. Behold, while I am alive with you this day, you have been rebellious against Jehovah, and how much more after my death? Gather unto me all the elders of your tribes and your officers, that I may speak these words, and call heaven and earth to record against them. For I know that after my death, you will utterly corrupt yourselves and turn aside from the way which I have commanded you, and evil will befall you in the latter days, because you will do evil in the sight of Jehovah to provoke him to anger through the works of your hands. Now, let's go and look at the evil that befell the children of Israel and what would happen afterwards. Okay. Oh, let's see here. I think I may have to go to, there we go. Here we go. Okay, so Moses already knew what was going to happen. Here are the curses of disobedience. Verse 15, but it shall come to pass, if you will not hearken unto the voice of Jehovah your Elohim to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, what I command you this day, that all these curses shall come upon you and overtake you. Cursed shall be you in the city, and cursed shall you be in the field. Cursed shall be your basket and your store. Cursed shall be your fruit of your body, and the fruit of your land, and the increase of your cattle, and the flock of your sheep. Cursed shall be when you come in, and cursed shall you be when you go out. And Jehovah shall send upon you cursing, vexation, and rebuke, and all that you set out your hands to do, until you be destroyed, and until you perish quickly, because of the wickedness of your doings whereby you have forsaken me. Jehovah shall make pestilence cleave unto you, until it's consumed you from off the land where you go to possess it. Jehovah shall smite you with consumption, with a fever, and with an inflammation, with extreme burning, and with the sword, and with blasting, and with mildew. And they shall pursue you until you perish. And your heaven that is over your land, or the sky over your land, will be brass, and the earth under your feet shall be as iron. That Jehovah shall make the rain of your land dry as powder, and dust from heaven shall it come down upon you until you be destroyed. Then Jehovah shall cause you to be smitten before your enemies, and you shall go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways in front of them. And you shall be removed, scattered into all the kingdoms of the earth. And that is exactly what happened to all Israel. Now, we must. There can be no finale unless Deuteronomy is read. Deuteronomy 30 is read. Verse 1, it shall come to pass when all these terrible things come upon you, the blessing and the curse which I have set before you, and you shall call them into mind among the nations where Jehovah your Elohim has sent you, and you shall return. It doesn't say if you shall return. No, it says, and you shall return unto Jehovah your Elohim. And it doesn't say, and if you shall obey. No, it says, and you shall obey his voice according to all I have commanded you this day. You and your children with all your heart, with all your soul. He says they will, after the blessings and the cursings. That then Jehovah your Elohim will return your captives and have compassion upon you, and will return and gather you from all the nations where Jehovah your Elohim has scattered you, And if any of yours be driven out in the uttermost parts of heaven, from there will Jehovah your Elohim gather you, and from there will he fetch you. And Jehovah your Elohim will bring you into the lands which your fathers have possessed, and you shall possess it. And he will do you good and multiply you above your fathers. And Jehovah your Elohim will circumcise your heart. Now, the circumcision of the heart on all Israel is the new covenant. Moses spoke about it. So when we read, what was that? Was it Revelation 15? I guess I can't remember which one it was anymore. Where they sang the song of Moses and the song of the Lamb. Why? What happened? They became circumcised in their hearts. That's what happened. And you're in the heart of your seed, to love Jehovah your Elohim with all your heart, with all of your soul, that you may live. And Jehovah your Elohim will put all these curses upon your enemies. You know, the nations who say death to Israel at the pulpit and death to Israel in the street. And both the Muslims and the Christians do this. And they both have the same mark of the beast. This is the Bismillah, and this is what John saw. Okay? It's the same thing. So they both, the Muslim, as I mentioned before, Mohammedanism is just another Protestant religion off Christianity. And if you read the history of Muhammad, you will find that he was raised by Christian monks. So, you know now who it is that worships the beast and has the number of his name. You know who they are. You know who it is. Or worships his image, the graven image, every Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon, whatever it is that they go to church and worship that, bow down before the graven image up on the cross, up on the tall, raised up on the tall. Yes, his name is XESUS, and his number is Chi, Chi, and Stigma. You have been told, you have heard, you have been warned.